it's a privilege or if it's a punishment to be the last one, but I'll do my best to consider it as a good one. So basically, today I'd like to talk about how we develop the UAE infrastructure through considering scenario planning. So it's easy to consider things while developing strategies and talking about things related to infrastructure, but it's really complicated, specifically that infrastructure have many aspects and implications are major because it comes to the life of people, to the budget related to the income and to the welfare as well to the countries. I'm talking here today specifically about my case, basically United Arab Emirates, and what are the things and how the things has been addressed. So basically, if we consider that the infrastructure in UAE is our focus, we will talk about two main aspects, the contextual and the transactional environments. We would like to do, like it's called, mapping the strategic environment of the infrastructure. So when it comes to the transactional environment or the main players or the main actors, it's basically we have the government sector, the federal sector in UAE, we have also the private sector, we have the master plan of each emirate because we know that each emirate developed its own master plan, and definitely we have this competitiveness report, happiness, GDP, all of the things that comes to, you can see every year there is a new trend that we would like to follow. So when it comes to these actors, it's important to consider the factors related to this. We have these factors, as many as you can read, if you would like to read them, but some of them are talking about smart cities, 3D printing, all of these new factors related to infrastructure, either directly or indirectly. Some of them are new trends, like, for example, artificial intelligence. It's a new trend now, and everyone's talking about this. I would say it's like a fashion. But when it comes to how it's related, we will address this later in a different way. So the panel before that one was talking about sustainability, green buildings, and all the factors related as well to how to make sure that the next generations will live in a good shape, I would say. So we create something. We'll talk about some mathematics here. So the x-axis and the y-axis. The horizontal axis is the impact on transactional environment, which is related to discomfort. So the more discomfort you feel, you go to the right side. While the y-axis or the vertical axis is the uncertainty, the ignorance. When it comes to ignorance, basically the higher the ignorance is really a foggy image or a foggy something that you don't know basically. So when we talk about the impact, when we talk about organizing these uncertainties, the higher the discomfort, the higher you go to the right, and the higher the uncertainty, when you go up, that green cloud, which is your uncertainty. So basically, when you want to build or to create scenarios in your life, in infrastructure, or in anything, you just focus on that green cloud. So when we talk about this, so I just create some mapping for these factors and actors, basically the factors. And then I have highlighted based on the current situation of UAE from today, from Horizon 1, from today, as of the state of today, that we have there might be a reduction in project portfolio. There might be a big impact on climate change. Definitely artificial intelligence is still foggy for us. Internet of Things, big data, blockchain. Yes, it is for the infrastructure sector is not really yet clear, while it might be much clearer on banking sector, for example. So when we come to this green cloud, we try to do this opposite outcomes thing. So basically, we put this factor in the middle, for example, the autonomous vehicle or the autonomous driver theming. And we take the two extreme outcomes that we expect, either positive or negative, or higher and low, and so on. So I assume that for the autonomous vehicles, there will be inefficiency in existing roads and infrastructure when we consider that these autonomous vehicles will happen. However, we will have reduction in parking requirements, roads, costs, and too many things related to the impact of this factor, basically. The same comes with infrastructure big data. It's loss of if we don't apply this, we will have loss on financial resources, information. There is an overlap or gap internally and externally between federal and local governments, and this will have an impact as well in all the other factors. If we do it, we will have less spending, higher integration between entities, and so on. So I hope, I don't know if most of you are with me until now, awake, in the back, good shape, perfect. So, because I want to talk about the next. If we don't understand the previous, we cannot continue. When we come to the scenario framework, so you can see here, I don't know if there is a pointer, yeah. It's not working. Anyway, so you can see that I took the 4 clouds from the previous slide and put them in this mapping, I would say framework, and we have the deficiency versus the reduction, the loss of spending versus the loss of financial resources. And I have named these 4 quadrants depending on the outcome here. For example, the loss of financial resources, information, and gaps versus the deficiency in existing roads and infrastructure, I call it solitary approach. Why I call it solitary approach? Because I believe that we will have wasting in government budget, we will have obstacles in urban planning and roads planning between the Emirates, and we might have absence of cumulative data. And this is really important when we talk about public governance or urban planning governance. And so on, the other factors will fall. For example, when we talk about the government revenue and public safety, definitely this quadrant will focus on high efficiency in expenditure, eliminating all the silos between either the federal and the local governments, and so on. Okay, are we in good shape so far? Okay, let's try to. Then we have this thunder, which is the uncertain scenario versus the planned scenario. So basically, we are planning to achieve the star. However, we still have this uncertain scenario of following under the floundering expenditure or optimizing of existing services. So when we talk about this, we have to always consider in scenario planning, we have to always consider that there are many uncertainties that we will go through. So I'm just here exploring what kind of uncertainties that we will focus if we do the work or if we don't, in this case. Basically, in this case, I don't like SWOT analysis, but we have to do SWOT analysis in this case. So when we talk about SWOT analysis in these two uncertain scenarios, we will focus in this case on how to do this SWOT analysis for each of them. So for example, when we come to floundering expenditure, we will focus we will do the SWOT analysis. So you can see that one of the strengths are platform are created in some entities. So this is a strength. And then you can see, for example, where we do the benchmarking or the case studies with some entities, either internally or externally, we can see now that these entities would work harder because there is a benchmark or there is an entity that is doing better than them. So it's a good way to start doing these uncertainties in the government. 2 more slides? No, actually 1 more slide. So the ripple effect. Do you know the ripple effect? If you throw a stone in a water or in a pool, you will have these circles. So in the ripple effect here, I took an example. In the ripple effect, we take an example of one thing. If I talk about the 3D printing, for example. So I'm talking here about creating alternative materials. There is an ease of transportation. There is an economy of scale. there is higher demand to other alternatives, and then I'm expanding the portfolio of my projects. This ripple effect, in between them, there is always an innovation opportunity. I believe that you heard many times that many entities or many innovators or even many projects, there is an innovation happen through this, not in purpose. It was not intended to happen, but through the obstacles or through the process of ripple effect, you could see that, there is something new here that we can explore, or this problem can be solved through something new. And then this is the pocket of innovation that might occur in this case. With this, I'm ending my presentation. I'd like to thank you everyone for being here and having the patience to stay until the end. And I hope this adds anything new to your knowledge. And if you have any questions, please, you can contact me through LinkedIn or any other platform. Thank you very much.